Camden Walker for the Capital Weather Gang. Thanks for tuning in to our weekly Sunday Sunset Live chat. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and X, and we're going to talk a little bit about Aaron tonight, about the storms moving through as well. And we also want to make sure you're aware of the beach conditions this week are going to be treacherous and dangerous, even though Aaron is going to curve out to sea. So first and foremost, the weather for our work week is going to turn a little cloudier, a little cooler, and the front that's moving through tonight will be bringing us some breezes tomorrow, maybe a couple gusts around 20 miles per hour. Good evening, David. Thanks for tuning in on Facebook. And other than breezes, we've got clouds being provided by this cold front that's moving through. And it's going to be maybe brightening at the end of the week into the weekend a little bit as well. Shay and HBR, thanks for tuning in on Instagram. And Redhead and Uma, good to see you as well. Precipitation animation for the week ahead, it's very hit or miss. Kind of sparse showers and storms, a few stray storms. Not big rain chances this week, but we can't completely rule it out throughout this week as well. And even maybe by Saturday, we could see a little bit of a chance for strong storms again. Good evening, Pewee fan. Loving the change in weather. Excellent. I'm glad you are. Ali and Hey It, good to see you. Ron B, good to see you. Dave and David. We've got thunder in downtown Silver Spring. Thanks for that report. Radar is indeed active. Some of these stronger storms moving through won't leave much activity behind them, but we could still see some showers and storms into the early morning hours. A few of them, but weaker into the early morning hours. So things should calm down a little bit after 10 o'clock. That's kind of when the atmosphere should really calm down after this line, looking in pretty solid shape. The strong storm threat is generally fading after this line. Rick, days are getting shorter. Yes, indeed. Sandy, good to see you. And Paul, I'm sorry about the storm hitting you while you were cutting grass. That is never good timing. Excellent to see all of you. And Teresa and Courtney and Nittany, thank you so much for tuning in. And first, Patty, excellent. All right, so this cold front moving through will bring us maybe a little bit of rain this week. It stalls out just south of us. So that's good news for some of us wanting some gardeners, some farmers wanting some rain. But you can still see it's very patchy, very hit or miss, which is not great news for some of us who, over the last 30 days, while no drought to speak of in the region, we are getting a little bit dry on our topsoils, especially. So we've had to water a little bit more. We could use any and all rain this week, but we're generally not going to see much rain overall accumulate this week. But again, a stray shower, stray storm. If you're lucky, you could get a quick half inch of rain this week. So don't lose all hope if you're a gardener or farmer, but it is going to be very hit or miss. One county away could make all the difference, so even a few blocks this week. So keep that in mind. And going with lower rain chances, we should have slightly lower dew points for most of this work week, kind of mid 60s to around 70 dew points. And I think then we get a little more humid again this weekend. As you can see, maybe a little warmer, a little more humid. And these higher dew points, maybe back into the 70s this weekend, could be the fuel for few strong storms as we get into the weekend. So we'll keep you posted. Nothing widespread as it appears now, but elsewhere in the atmosphere. Smoke is generally under control this week. It should stay at high altitudes. Maybe during one of our briefer sunny moments this week, we see some haze, some different colored sunshine a little bit this week, but at the surface, luckily, smoke does not look like it's an issue for air quality this week as it stands now. And then further below, I did put the latest pollen count where only grasses are low this week. So I'm sorry, allergy sufferers, I am not able to give you great news, except grasses are low for this week. All right, we've got Rebecca, Air, Sig, Ziva, Miss Megan, PP, and Connie, and Rachel. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in on Instagram. And we've got Ruth Elisa on Facebook. It's really good to see you. And Cheryl, Lightning, and Upper Marlboro. And Steve and Culpeper, about half inch of rain there. Some thunder, could use more. Yes, indeed. Many of us could use a little bit more rain. And Sandy wanting some rain as well. Veggies are a little dry and grass is a bit brown. Indeed. Good to hear you chime in. As we were talking about a second ago, the last 30 days, let me find this again for you. We don't have any droughts to speak of, but we are getting a little below average in the last month, the last 30 days or so. We do have some dry spots growing in the region. Luckily, no droughts. But gardeners and farmers, you know what I'm talking about with that topsoil being a little bit dry, we're needing to water a little bit more and more just to stay vigilant. All right. Yep, Sandy, be careful of your allergies this week. At least it's not too sticky for mowing this week. And Tom, let's talk about air and waves. That's great segue. They are going to be an issue this week, especially middle part of this week when Aaron makes its closest pass. Looks like around the Wednesday time frame. So please, even if waves don't seem too big, please know there could be still rip currents, beach erosion. Yes, high surf will be visible for the middle part of the week, especially, but it is going to be dangerous. Even though the hurricane will stay offshore, we are going to be dealing with beach erosion, even if you can't see it, creating those dangerous rip currents. So please consider staying out of the water, especially the middle part of this week. The track of Aaron, and then let me put up the legend. There's a lot of information here, but generally the impact of tropical storm force winds, even on the Outer Banks and Hampton Roads of Virginia, only a 5–10% chance of seeing some tropical storm sustained winds there. So that's good news. Aaron continues to want to curve out to sea, but again, the waves, the beach erosion, and those rip currents that are very sneaky and invisible oftentimes, those are going to be reasons to stay out of the water this week. Even though wind is also going to stay offshore, we still are going to see some impact along even our local mid-Atlantic beaches, Delaware, New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina. It is going to scrape us with those high waves. Aaron is expected to grow in size and strength again, probably not a category 5, but still it's accumulated energy as it grows with its size that will allow it to manipulate the wave action a little bit more and throw more high waves toward us in the mid-Atlantic region. So its strength will be not only just its core strength from its sustained winds, but from its large wind field that is expected to grow, and that will affect the ocean surface in the form of higher waves propagating, being thrown at us onto the eastern seaboard. And also, let's look at the behind Aaron. We have just a slight, small disturbance, kind of between Bermuda and the Carolinas. It's not expected to develop, but a low chance with that one yellow X, and the orange X is a little bit more concerning behind Aaron. It is looking like a little bit south of where Aaron tracked, which could be a more favorable tracking area to keep it heading westward toward the Lesser Antilles, toward Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Cuba, and even the eastern seaboard and Gulf of Mexico. All eyes should generally be cautiously watching this next system behind Aaron, and the next named storm is Fernand. If that system, which has a moderate chance of developing over the next 7 days, if it develops into a tropical storm, again, moderate chance, it will be named Fernand. If we're lucky, we could have maybe some cold waters upwelling behind Aaron, which might limit some of the strengthening that's possible for that potential system behind Aaron. All right, so there was a great segue to stay out of the water this week with the waves and the rip currents. And next week, let's look ahead 8 to 14 days. And we have below average temperatures, a lean toward below average temperatures. And then for precipitation, we are leaning above average for precipitation in the medium term. This is 8 to 14 days out, just to give you kind of a look ahead for what might happen after next weekend. All right, radar is active tonight. Let me look at your questions and comments and make sure I'm checking everything on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm Camden Walker for the Capital Weather Gang. We're at cwg.live anytime you need us. This is our weekly Sunday Sunset Live Q&A chat. For 20 minutes every week, we check in with you, let you know what's the weather for the week ahead. This week, we're talking about strong storms moving through tonight, which might be the most rain that we're going to see this week, even if we can't completely eliminate rain chances. It's still a pesky pop-up storm or shower, which we need the rain, but it still could be part of the forecast for much, if not all, of this work week. All right, let's see. We've got, let me get this mouse working here a little bit better. We've got Donna. You hang in there in Iowa. Please, thanks for tuning in. You could see 1 or 2 strong storms this week. Ruth Elisa, good to see you again. And Scott, more significant rainfall as we looked ahead a moment ago. Maybe in the 8 to 14 day period, we're leaning for above average precipitation. So fingers crossed. Rapid intensification did happen with Aaron David. Aaron did get up to a category 5. And let's see. We've got Sandy, I think, asking about Aaron recurving out to sea. That is the good news. And April, tomorrow should be a little cloudy, a little breezy, maybe a couple of showers, even a stray storm are possible. And Dave, indeed, we need to watch that system behind Aaron just to make sure it does not affect the Gulf of Mexico or East Coast. It is possible, but too far out to say anything with confidence or for certainty. Let's see, April. You're back in school, so I hope that you can have a good recess tomorrow and dodge some showers and clouds a little bit there tomorrow. All right, so let's see. We've got Patricia. Uh, the humidity does calm a little bit this week. Let's talk about that briefly. As rain chances go down after tonight, oh, pardon me, rain chances go down after tonight, dew points go back into the 60s to around 70 for much of the work week. And then again, I think looking at Saturday, we kind of start getting more humid again, maybe 70 or dew points into the 70s by this weekend, which could fuel a couple strong storms potentially, but too soon to say that with certainty at this time. So, Patricia, I hope you enjoy the slightly less humidity, the kind of moist, sticky, unpleasant humidity versus super muggy, gross, and oppressive humidity. All right, we've got J.M. Pickerel. You've got some lightning, zero point 0.4 inches of rain near before Belvoir. Yes, the cucumbers and tomatoes do need more rain. I hear you. Mary, thanks for tuning in, and Hunter, and Kins, and Snord, and Emery, and Heidi. And we've got Ciematic, and Rob, and slight rain chances, Misha, of rain chances Saturday and Sunday. Maybe even a little higher than the work week, but I don't want to say high rain chances yet. Let's just keep one eye on things for this weekend because we could see higher humidity, which might fuel some strong storms, even though overall rain chances aren't too high, but relatively higher than the kind of hit or miss rain chances for the work week. So just a little step higher for the weekend with the humidity, so goes the rain chances as well. All right, Sandy, you're most welcome. Thanks for tuning in from YouTube. I'm glad I could help. And we've got Roma and Lost and Sean and Kua and Kathleen and Lisa. Thanks so much for tuning in as well. All right, so let's go through things one more time. I'm on Camden Walker for the Capital Weather Gang. We're at cwg.live anytime you need us. I'm on the air another 6 minutes or so. We're watching radar tonight. So this is the cold front that is attempting to move through, but is going to stall to our south for much of the week, especially through midweek. Let's just say the week starts a little cloudy, a little breezy, some stray showers, maybe even a stray storm. So, not high rain chances, but at least the strong storm chances are going south and east of us right now as this cold front moves through. But still, one or two weaker showers and storms are possible into the overnight hours tonight as well. And again, a little breezy tomorrow. It will feel cooler, a little cooler, a little cloudy, a little breezy, a little less humid. So, a regime change in some regards, but we can't fully get this cold front far enough to our south for it to not throw us some clouds. Even that, yes, a couple showers, maybe a storm this week as well. So don't expect too much sunshine early, maybe middle part of this week, but we should brighten a little bit at the end of this week into the weekend, I think, if you're looking for sunshine. Precipitation wise, not too much precipitation to speak of underneath the clouds. Could see some showers tonight. And maybe, stray showers or storms are generally what we're thinking of and throughout this work week. So stay tuned. If anything changes, we'll keep you posted because a front nearby kind of dancing a little bit stalled and quasi-stationary near us that, just dances a few miles northward toward DC this week, and we could have a slightly different forecast with a little bit higher rain chances in the forecast through middle part of this week. So we'll need to watch this, and those folks in the valleys and mountain and valley regions might have a slightly higher chance for some showers and storms this week because the lift of air around the mountains could help encourage the development of some showers and storms a little more easily than lowlands near DC. All right, rainfall over the next 7 days. Kind of meager, right? This is not exactly what we want to hear, though there is, we want to see a little bit more rain. Now, it only takes one or two showers and storms, maybe if you're lucky. You could get a quick downpour, maybe see a half inch of rain, so don't lose all hope this week. But we are watching, while no drought is to be reported in the region, we are seeing some spreading abnormally dry areas and some below average precipitation over the last 30 days. Now, with lower rain chances this week, while we need the rain, we'll take a break in the humidity as well. That goes along with lower rain chances. So hopefully, for much of this week, don't want to overpromise, but 60s for dew points rather than in the 70s. So that is some winning, some spin positive silver lining to lower rain chances. Elsewhere in the atmosphere, we've got pollen to talk about and smoke luckily behaving itself this week. Staying at higher altitudes, we may see just a little bit of hazy sunshine during those, half moments where we do see some sunshine amid the clouds this week. So good news, air quality is looking good. The smoke is going to stay generally above the surface at higher altitudes. So we should have very decent air quality this week. And my fellow allergy sufferers, grasses are low. That is my spin positive. The only allergen that is low is for grasses. So moderate trees, weeds are moderate in the DC area count, and mold spores are high, as we have been seeing in recent pollen counts as well. Looking ahead, before I take your questions and comments, let's look ahead to next work week, 8 to 14 days out, leaning below average for temperatures. So if you're looking for a break from the heat, maybe this continues again a little bit into 8 to 14 days out. And precipitation, hopefully, it's leaning above average for now. Hopefully, we can continue that trend and get a little more rain in here in the medium term, 8 to 14 days out. All right, let's review really quick. The National Hurricane Center is watching Aaron, of course. Very ever so slight chance there's a small disturbance between Bermuda and the Carolinas that has a very low chance of developing, but they're watching that. A little more concerning is the orange X and the orange shading behind Aaron. That is a medium term, a medium risk of developing over the next 7 days. So we need to watch that being just a hair south of where Aaron might be tracking now. That increases the chance for impacts not only on the islands, the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Cuba, but may increase our chances for vulnerability along that trek, climatologically speaking, for the eastern seaboard, Florida, and even the Gulf Coast. So worth making sure if you have interests along the East Coast and Gulf of Mexico, you continue to watch that system behind Aaron. And if it develops into a named storm, it will be named Fernand if it attains 39 mile per hour or more sustained winds. Key messages for Aaron are as follows. It is definitely impacting Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Turks and Caicos, and parts of the Bahamas. For interests closer to the DC area, it is going to be an issue at the beaches, at the shore with rip currents, with high surf, beach erosion. Wind is looking like it won't be a huge issue, but we're still going to make sure it curves out to sea as we're expecting. This wind field here is the tropical storm force wind field, and there is a little bit of green shading there along the coast of Virginia, the Delmarva, and North Carolina, indicating a 5 to 10% chance of tropical storm force winds. Right now, the Hurricane Center is thinking maybe just some outer bands, some outer thunderstorms from Aaron could bring briefly some tropical storm force winds to the Carolinas and to Virginia. But right now, the good news is the bulk of the wind and rain impact from Aaron is expected to continue onward out to sea. But our closest pass of Aaron is on Wednesday, so we do need to watch that as we get closer. We've looked at that. We're really concerned about waves along the mid Atlantic this week. So please, even after waves abate a little bit, with the worst passing maybe in the middle part of the week, with the closest pass of Aaron expected around the Wednesday timeframe, rip currents will have developed. They are generally invisible, and you'll have high surf and the rip currents along with beach erosion. It will just not be a safe week, even into this weekend potentially, to not be in the water. So please heed lifeguards' warnings. Make sure you're checking with local officials before going in the water, and I just generally don't recommend it. It is a very sneaky threat from distant hurricanes. Even if we don't see local winds or rain at the beach, the wave action can produce many beach hazards, and it's been known to be a killer. So please do take this seriously. David, thanks so much for tuning in. Good to see you as well. I'll see you next week. Dave, you're most welcome for the update. You have a good week ahead. And David, yes, maybe we do see a little bit of rain in the 18-14 day period. Karen, please be cautious if you are getting on the water. Thanks for tuning in from YouTube. And generally, I'm going to just recommend that. Don't get on the water this week if you can along the East Coast. Let's see. Eric, there could be some dry air around Aaron. We might see briefly some sunshine as it approaches in the middle part of this week. That could be one of the only effects we see from Aaron, so it remains to be seen where the exact track lines up. But yes, there could be some sinking air over DC if Aaron gets as large and powerful as we were expecting. April, you're most welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Karen, thanks for tuning in. And Paul, I think you'll just need to watch Saturday for the chance of pop-up storms. One or two could be a little strong, maybe even severe. All right, Kayla, you should be okay in Georgia. And Trish, stargazing is going to be a little bit hard this week, but I lean toward the end of this week when clouds start dissipating a little bit as well. And Ted, Outer Banks look a little rough, so please, even on Friday into the weekend, be cautious. Make sure you check with your local lifeguards. It might take until next week for the waters to be fully deemed safe again for going into the water. So Zian, thanks for tuning in. Kev, Macaulay, Alex, and Delve and Dave. Espor and Abby and Cool and Sean, thanks so much for tuning in. All right. I think I've covered all the questions and comments from Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X. I'll see you next week for a weekly Sunday Sunset Live chat then, or 20 minutes every week. Anytime you need us, we're at Capital Weather Gang, the CWG.live blog. Follow us on Instagram, all of our 4 social media channels at Capital Weather. And I'm Cameron Walker, wishing you a good week. Enjoy the cloudy, cooler weather if that is your thing. Not too much rain around, even though we need some rain, but we'll keep an eye on things for you at the blog as we go through this week. Stay safe. If you're at the beach, I'd advise generally staying out of the water if you can manage that, if at all possible. Best yet, check with your local officials and your local lifeguard as well. So be well.